And don't forget, you can watch us. So we are on your computer or your mobile device. Just head on over to SuperTalk TV. And now you can make the argument that Oxford is the unofficial capital of humor poetry after a UM professor and student took top winners in a poetry competition. And we got both of them joining us to tell us a little bit more. We got Ole Miss English professor and author Beth Ann and a doctoral student, Ellie, joining us. Congratulations, ladies.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you.
This is really cool. Okay, so who wants to take the question and give us a little background on this particular competition?
Beth Ann, do you want to do that?
Yeah, happy to. This competition is the best humor competition for the country. They have a big prize of $2,000, and it's been going on for 23 years. And there's no entry fee. And so they get a lot of entrants. In fact, this year they got over 6,000. And I had a poem that I thought might have a chance, so I sent it in.
And same with you, Ellie. Okay, so that's how you knew about it, obviously, Beth Ann being a professor. Ellie, how did you hear about this competition? Because as the story goes, you ladies entered without knowing the other one did, which I find very interesting. So how did you find out about it, Ellie?
I literally had never heard of this contest before in my life. I was looking for contests with no submission fee, and I stumbled across it. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I have a couple poems that I think are funny. So I submitted one, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Okay, so at what moment did you ladies recognize that you both were in it? Is it when you won or maybe before?
It was right a little bit before I got a... Oh, I was just going to say it was a little bit before I got a text from Beth Ann a couple of weeks before the results were announced.
So
yeah, I got the press release sent to me to proofread. And when I was reading the press release, they were asking me just to double check the spelling of my name as the winner, and I'm reading that. And then it said, and the second prize winner goes to Ellie Black. And I said, my Ellie Black? My student, it was so fun to see her name. So I texted her, I can't believe you won second prize. So we were, definitely feeling like we needed to celebrate that.
Well, Beth Ann, that's kind of like two wins for you, right? I mean, number one, it's personal. You got the opportunity for your work to be recognized and then honored. But then your other work as being a professor and, your influence on your students to also see that they rose to the occasion, was able to take one of the top spots. Okay, I know this is awkward, but which one came in first and which one came in second first?
I came in second first.
So that means
I'm totally fine with.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes. So Beth Ann, you won. Mm-hmm. All right. And then, Ellie, you came in, as they would call it, second, which I think that's great. But remembering that this is out of 6,000 plus entries from across the United States put in, and two people, not only from Mississippi, but two people from Ole Miss were able to take those top two spots, and that's pretty cool. Okay, this is all for humor poetry. Now, this is the first time I've ever heard that as kind of like a genre of poetry. Beth Ann, how would you explain that to those who I know humor's funny, but is there a better definition than just funny poetry?
Well, I think there's a kind of genre of light verse that has to do with limericks and things that are just supposed to, kind of make you giggle or even really smirk. And I think humor poetry is supposed to make you laugh, but also there's something beyond it that prods you to think about something or gives you an idea of something you want to return to. For example, Ellie's fabulous prize-winning poem is about the way we sometimes demonize successful women as villainesses, but really, in fact, it appears on your first read as just a really lighthearted take on what it feels like to look like a traditional movie villain with the blunt-cut blonde hair and red lipstick.
I can see that. And then what was your title, kind of, Beth Ann? What was yours sort of sway towards?
Well, mine has a long title, and it kind of shows the tone is a little bit over the top. My poem was called Epistle to My Lord Concerning My Son's Future Spouses. And I wrote it because my oldest son is going to be going off to college next year, and I really love to feed them, and they love to eat. And I was thinking that pretty soon he's going to be eating someone else's food and maybe even meeting a partner, and then he'll be eating all their food all the time. And so partially I was giving some thoughts on what I hope this future spouse might cook for my sons. And then the other thought was indulging a little petty jealousy that I hope that I'm always going to be their favorite cook.
You probably will, trust me. One time my husband and I threw a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at him because he told me I didn't make it like his mom did. So there's still hope for you, Beth Ann, I'm sure. Don't worry, we've made it almost 16 years, so we're doing fine, but I still have never made another peanut butter and jelly sandwich for him. But, that's neither here nor there. Is there anywhere we can read what you ladies submitted? Is it posted on UM's website, or is there anywhere folks can go and enjoy your work and get a good laugh?
Sure.
It is.
Oh,
go ahead, Ellie.
To say it can be found at winningwriters.com. If you go to the website, there's a nice, lovely picture of Beth Ann on the homepage that you can click, and then from there's a link that'll take you to all 3 of the top 3 winning poems.
Now, Ellie, you're a doctoral student, and so you obviously chose to have higher education. I guess, would it be more in English? Or let me ask you, what are you getting your higher education in your doctoral studies? Is it poetry, or is that just something you also enjoy?
So I'm getting my PhD in creative writing, concentration of the English department, yeah.
So what made you choose Ole Miss?
I just absolutely fell in love with it. I got into 3 MFA programs. I also did my MFA here, my Master's of Fine Arts in Poetry. And I came to visit in 2019. I also visited the other schools that I got into, and I just absolutely fell in love with Oxford. I was like, I have to be here.
So, Beth Ann, from a professor's perspective, you got parents, caregivers, maybe even kids listening that just got picked up in car rider line. What's it like there? What's the pulse on being like a creative writer or looking at writing in terms of a profession or maybe even a career? Are there opportunities that's bustling out there for those individuals?
Yeah, I think absolutely. And in fact, there's a lot of studies in particular that talk about what a flexible and useful major the English major is for undergraduates. And I think people forget that because they think of majors that lead directly on to one thing or another, whereas, being an English major, it's teaching you critical thinking, it's teaching you how to evaluate ideas, it's teaching you how to communicate with power and efficacy. And these things make anyone who's interested in studying English a really attractive candidate when applying for jobs or thinking about further education, or I'd just go on and say being a person on planet Earth.
Well, and I would say creative writing, you could argue, is just about in every profession, whether it's as a lawyer, a healthcare provider, a research. I mean, if you've got the ability to take thoughts and make them into where they're, people want to read it or can better understand what you're trying to relay, like big, massive information, then you're going to have one up on not only probably getting a job, but also being effective at your job at the same time. So that's mine for creative writing. But kudos to both of you. So where can we go, Beth Ann, like you mentioned, to sort of see both of your works or learn more about the department?
Yeah, for sure. The English department has a website. I also have a website, which is BethAnnFennelly.com. And, to find my work, you could, of course, get it online, but I always recommend my hometown independent bookstore, Square Books, which has copies of all 6 of my books. Thank you, Square Books. What about you, Ellie?
My website, where you can find some of my work, is elliekblack.com. Don't forget that middle K, stands for Catherine. And I am also on Instagram at ellie.kb.
All right, ladies. Well, again, congratulations. I like this idea of Oxford staying the unofficial capital of humor poetry. I think we can all use a little more humor and good poetry in our lives. So why not celebrate that for Oxford?
Fabulous. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. I mean, we all need something that we can laugh about. We'll do our best to look up the link to their works, and we'll put it in the Good Things Facebook group for you guys to be able to see if you so desire. Don't forget you can find us on Facebook. Just go to the search bar, type in Good Things with Rebecca Turner will pop up. There, you can join. But stick with us. We got more for you, what you can do on your main streets, coming up next.